Miami, this is Annie, and this is my second video in response to the Pagan Perspective topics of the week. And this particular subject was a topic from someone who is new to the path, or relatively new to the path, who had 3 questions. And it's kind of fun because when you're talking to someone who's new on the path, the questions can almost come sometimes like rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, one after the other, because the mind is filled with so many things and possibilities that the questions come out that way, and it is part of the process, not only for the person who's asking the questions, but it is also part of the process for those who are thinking about them and answering them. It keeps us fresh. If we've forgotten why, we need to reinvestigate something ourselves. We don't need to be parroting answers without thinking about what we're saying and what we do and why we do. So here are 3 questions, which Kara has reminded us are pretty typical, the ones she gets very often on this channel. The first one is it always necessary to cast a circle? And the answer is no, it is not. It may not be necessary ever to cast a circle. Now, in my tradition, which I stick very closely to even after all these years, I cast circle. It is what I do. I know why I do it. I know why I need it. I know why I enjoy it. Doesn't mean that there aren't times I don't, but I think the point here is I know why I do it. I know what I gain from it, and I do it. If you are exploring casting circle, I'd suggest you don't even think about it if you don't know why. If you want to try it, you know why you want to try it, what you're hoping for from it, then I say go for it. See if it feels different when you do and don't do it. You may want to do it sometimes. You may want to do it all the time. You may find it's just not your cup of tea. Casting a circle is, for someone like me, who's a trad Wiccan, part of what I do. I don't have to do it. I don't always do it. I almost always do it because it is who I am, and it's how I create my sacred space and live within it and work with my elementals. But you need to know why you would want to do it, and then experiment. And then you'll decide for yourself, is it always necessary to cast a circle, or indeed, is it ever? I think the next question was, does "and it harm none" apply to animals? Not sure specifically what that meant. Indeed, "and it harm none" would be in relation to all that exists, the animal world being no greater or lesser part of the entirety. So indeed, proper care of a pet, proper respect of animals in the wild and their habitat is part of connection. And there are aspects of the read which really are preserving connection rather than disconnection from the web of life. And in harm none would mean no intentional harm to animals and wildlife, and a sense of, and this is my spiritual take on it, a sense of responsibility to that relationship. It's a partnership. We share this world. Now, if the viewer was asking about "and it harm none," thinking about those of us who eat meat, then the answer would be, from a trad Wiccan standpoint, and since we are talking about the read, I'm assuming that is the viewpoint the viewer is asking about, there is no limit on eating meat in trad Wicca. That doesn't mean that some groups or some individuals haven't come to a place where they are no longer comfortable with eating meat and they may become vegetarians or vegans. It is a personal choice. It is not part of the "this is what you must do if you are a Wiccan." That is not the case. Some may decide that the sacrifice of an animal for sustenance, for food, is not necessary and therefore is considered harm. It comes down to it being an individual choice, though. It has nothing to do with "and it harmed none." At the greater level, it can, though, have to do with how someone might interpret it for themselves. The third question that this viewer had was, does anathema have to be double-edged? And I know you're probably reading online or reading books where there is, over and over again, a description of what a blade has to be. It will tell you the length of the handle, the length of the blade, the color of the handle, the shape of the blade, indeed, whether it is single or double-edged, perhaps even whether it is sharpened or dulled. Very specific, that. But, again, it is, in the end, personal choice. Now, my tradition does require a double-edged blade. There are reasons for that. We learn that as we are taught the elements and when we develop our relationship with our blade. In the bond with the blade, there are certain dynamics to that, and specific shapes of blades are usually recommended. However, if you are not following a formal tradition, if you are following a more free-form, self-creative form of Wicca or paganism, the question of single or double-edged is as, should you even have one? Do you even want one? What would you do with it anyway? What does it mean to you? We come back to the casting circle thing again in my mind, which is, if you know why you want your blade and what you want your relationship with your blade to be, what you want to come of that, then you think about what it needs to be for you. When you're young, you will not have access to a blade. You might try and make do and wonder why it isn't working, but it may be that at that point in your life when you have to, it seems like everything you own is very public and scrutinized by those around you, you are actually in a good place because you will work with your projective hand and your projective fingers. And you will work with a wand, which may be something as simple as a stick that you have picked up that feels good in your hand. And when you explore that energy, the energy of what comes up and out of you through your fingers, the energy of what you can with a wand in your hand channel, what energy that's out there can you channel through that? When you are experiencing with those forms of energy, you are developing something which either will need to be partnered with a blade or will absolutely not need to be. And you also are not at a point in your life that you are devoting yourself probably to something traditional. You are deciding what you want it to be for you. You may not even need a blade. This is for you to explore and decide. It is there's great freedom in, if you are meant to have a blade, in the process of working with your projecting hand, and in the process of working with a wand, you will feel like a blade can complete that. A blade can partner with you. A blade can amplify the energy that you create or the energy that you're directing. It's a good process, and it almost seems the longer it takes that your mind is conceiving of what it wants a blade to be. And at the point in your life at which you find one, no matter that it meets someone else's description of what it should be, you will recognize it. And you will know that it is yours, that you are meant to be partnered with it. So the answer to that one, does an athame have to be single or double-edged? My answer would be, it doesn't even have to be at all. So again, it comes down to the power of your own creation, of meeting your own needs and deciding what it is for you. 3 questions, typical of those who are young and on the path, and also those who are new to the path, no matter their age. And the kind of question that I think those of us with experience should always welcome. So please, when you have these questions, Put them out there for us. Let us help you. Very often you're going to find it comes back. Why would you do that? What does it mean to you? And what would you make of it? It does come back on you in the end to decide what it is for you. I wish you mirth and reverence. Mary Part.